We have two presenters today, Sonia Gentile and Stacie Godin, who are going to talk to us about the developments at the Family and Children's Services organization here in Kingston and Frontenac and Lennox and Addington and so forth. And that looks to me that the person on the screen right now is Sonia, I think. Yep. Anyway, so Sonia is the executive director of the Family and Children's Services, and she's been with them for 15 years, and I gather the executive director for the last 2 years, and 12 years for the previous 12 years was the director of services. And Stacie is the co-chair for the Tree of Hope campaign, and they're here to tell us about developments with the society. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. And if it's okay, I'll get started. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep. Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, thanks for inviting us this morning. We do appreciate that. And what we wanted to do was talk a little bit about what's happening at Family and Children's Services. Some of you may know us by the term Children's Aid Society, which we used in this area, probably about 10 years ago. And since that time, we moved to the name of Family and Children's Services because we felt that was more reflective of some of the work we were doing in the community. So I'm going to ask Stacie to share her screen with a bit of a PowerPoint, and that will keep us on track. So Stacie, do you have permissions to share your screen?
I think so. I'm just testing it out now.
All righty, so we'll go back to there. All right, so we'll split the presentation, but I'll start and just talk to you a little bit about Family and Children's Services. So many people probably think of us in terms of caring for children in our foster homes or some of our outside paid resources. But I just wanted to let you know that over 90% of the children that we're working with and their families are staying with their families. And we make a tremendous effort to try and keep children within their families. And that's basically our vision at the organization, which is children growing up in their families, cultures, and communities. So speaking of cultures, this is one of our primary priorities as part of our strategic plan is to look at keeping children within their own culture and communities. And that might be in relation to First Nations, Inuit Métis. It may also be in relation to Black or other people of color. But basically this year we've spent a lot of time and a lot of investment on doing an equity scan. We've reached out to our own employees as well as those people that we're serving and the community as a whole. So trying to figure out what's the scan of our entire area and how we can hear the voices of those people and better make our services available. So the other thing I wanted to let you know was with Truth and Reconciliation, that's been another priority. And this past year, we had developed a full team who are providing services to First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities and the people in those communities. And we also hired a cultural coordinator, and she is actually from Tyendinaga. And she assists us in developing our work so that we're able to meet the needs of those populations. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is a change in direction from the ministry. We had always had that at age 21, youth that are working with us voluntarily from age 18 to 21 were then on their own. And I just want you to think about for a minute your own children or youth that may be in your life that we all know at age 21 aren't able to just cut ties and then be independent. If I'm thinking of my own kids, they're in the middle of their post-secondary education at age 21, and to just cut those ties is incredibly challenging because they're just not ready. So the province now is looking at a new criteria for transitioning off of our services. And basically, that's going to be a readiness model and not solely dependent on age. So if you could just change the slide there for me, Stacie, I'd appreciate it.
There we go.
All right, so throughout COVID, obviously, this pandemic has changed all of our lives and certainly the lives of the people that we're serving. And so I was interested to hear about your plan for collecting electronics laptops for over the holidays to have them go up north. And we had actually done that at the start of the pandemic. We found that a number of services in the community became virtual, as we all know. And so we pulled together as a community a number of service providers and collected devices that we could actually clean up and have them distributed amongst the community. And we did that as a cohesive community group, which I think I can say very much that we're quite proud of that work. And I just wanted to, I think it was Rob who had actually spoke on that. If you want to connect with me later, I think we could also make a donation of some clean devices that we're not using anymore, because this was now, unfortunately, almost 2 years ago that we did this work. So we probably do have some others. And if you connect with me later, I can pass them on. I also wanted to talk about with COVID, you know, the playing field wasn't balanced here at all. Some of us did much better during the pandemic than others. And it's those people that didn't do as well and don't have as equal of a playing field here that we're looking to support. And not only for these holidays through our Tree of Hope, but also throughout the whole year. We use money that we collect during this campaign, which extends from November 15th to December 15th throughout the whole year for necessities that families need, and also for things like summer camps, bursaries, and just essentials that people can't afford. So I talked a little bit about the equity scan already. Oops, sorry. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
I jumped back and forth, sorry.
That's okay. And I also wanted to let you know that I'm quite proud to say that as of November 29th, we actually put out a policy in relation to vaccination in the organization in October. And that was a staggered type of compliance, in that by November 29th, all of our staff and our volunteers needed to be fully vaccinated. And proud to tell you that 100% of our active employee group and volunteers are now fully vaccinated. So we're doing our part in the community to keep everybody healthy and safe. Okay, Stacie, for the next slide, which is over to you. Thank you.
Okay. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit about the volunteers that we have working for us, so the types of volunteers that we look for. The main ones that we've been using throughout the pandemic have been our drivers. They would drive children to appointments or to visits with their family, to school when school is in session and actually going in person. So our drivers have been driving pretty consistently throughout the whole pandemic, which has been great. There have only been a few times where the program had to be put on pause during specific lockdowns and stuff like that. We also have special friends, which are similar to the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. We have people who volunteer and then they get, there's a screening process and all of that, and they get paired up with a child who could just use a little bit of one-on-one time with someone else to go do things in the community. So it could be taking them skating, or I know one of the friends we have right now takes the child out to play basketball because he loves playing basketball and there's nobody who will play it with him. So special friends and drivers are the two main volunteers that we're using right now that are meeting with our people frequently on a daily basis. We also have tutors that can come and help the children with reading and math homework and different things like that as well. And we have life book creators. These are people that it's mostly for children who have an adoption plan. So these are people who do some research and find out a little bit about the child's history, and they put the information together. So it could be taking pictures of a street they used to live on, or a school they used to go to, or something like that, and kind of putting it together almost like a scrapbook to basically give them a picture of their previous life and their history. We also have special events volunteers, which we haven't been using since COVID, but they used to assist with the Tree of Hope campaign that we're running right now. So that was when we were collecting toys and things like that. Since COVID started, we changed from collecting toys and donations that way to monetary donations. So we've stuck with that for this year as well, and just collecting monetary donations. So we don't need as many special events volunteers in this instance, but we do use them for things like graduation ceremonies and different events that happen as well throughout the year. So there's a few different types of volunteers. The main ones we're using right now are drivers and special friends. So the Tree of Hope is the main fundraising campaign that we're in the midst of right now, right? Actually, towards the end of it now. It's gone super fast. It's been so busy. So it's over 100 years that we've been running this campaign. And as I mentioned, we switched last year from from collecting toys and books and things like that just to gift cards. So now we collect donations, monetary donations, both in person and through our website. The website is the main one where people are donating. And then we kind of divide that money up and give gift cards to all the families so they can go out and purchase gifts for their children. So volunteer drivers are helping with delivering these packages. Last year, we did it just where the workers would collect the packages and deliver them. But this year, the drivers have delivered, I think, I wanted to have the exact number for you and I forgot to double check. I think it's about 150 packages that the drivers have delivered. So it's pretty close to half or a little over half of what we've sent out this year, which is just pretty fantastic, I think. And they feel really good doing it. They're telling me lots of good stories. So it's really nice to hear the feedback about that as well. So we've got a whole new advertising kind of marketing campaign for the Tree of Hope this year. We rebranded, we got new logos, which Sonia and I are displaying. It's kind of weird because your head disappears sometimes when you move around, but we've got these awesome new logos and a new website where you can make donations. So I was going to try and go there just so that I can show you guys. But I'm wondering, I'm going to have to stop sharing and then reshare so that I can make sure I've got the right screen. I'm flipping back and forth between two, so it was a little bit confusing. Okay, let me try this one. And I'll see if I can. Okay, maybe that's not going to work. Let me try something else. I will move this over. Sorry, I did have it open and now it just.
No problem.
So you should be able to see my Google screen and now the Tree of Hope. Okay, so this is what our new website looks like. Karen Horseman is our marketing person who made this all kind of come to life. And the website is helptreeofhope.ca. You can also get to it through our faxlaw.ca website through Family and Children's Services. So it's pretty straightforward. She kind of cut out all the extras, made a big green button to show how you donate. And then there's a little bit of information down at the bottom here that tells where the money goes to as well. So as Sonia had mentioned, it doesn't just go into gifts and gift cards and things at Christmas. It goes also towards must-have items like winter clothing, we ended up giving out over $12,000 worth of winter clothing funds to different children that are connected to us this year. It goes towards education as well. And if you click on any of these things, it opens up with more information. So different bursaries and things like that. And then it also goes towards summer camps. And that's another one of part of my job is to sign children up for summer camps. So all the money that we collect during the Tree of Hope is dispersed through these different needs that we have. And it's used throughout the year, as Sonia had mentioned. So if anybody is interested in making a donation, that's where you can do it. If anyone's interested in volunteering or learning more about volunteering with us, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to share any information. Or if you know someone who's looking to volunteer somewhere, we're going to be ramping up the program again. It's starting in January. Most of my focus has been on the Tree of Hope for the last month or so, but starting to ramp things up again starting January. So please feel free to reach out. And I think that's it for us.
Just wondering if anybody has any questions. Stacie, if you could stop sharing, perfect. And then I can see hands if anyone has questions.
Okay. Questions, anyone? Bill Legnatoff has a question.
You mentioned that 90% of your people are of your children are with their families. Could you tell us a little bit about the 10% and maybe how that has changed over the past decade or so?
Okay, sure, I'd be happy to. And a very good question. And we're using the 10% as a probably an estimate, but I would say it's less than that. But we have services where we're alternate parents for children who are in our care. So those children and youth would be either in foster homes, and the majority are in family-based care, such as a foster home. And then some who have extreme needs are in group care. And that's through outside services that we purchase. With these kids, we do everything at all possible for these kids not to come into our care. I want to be brutally honest with you. It's not highly successful when children and youth leave and start their life from Children's Aid or Family and Children's Services care. Some do well and are very resilient, but some have incredible trauma that is with them right into their adulthood. So we try, it's not a good scenario to have a child or a youth come into our care. We prefer that they don't. And when I say we'll do so many things that to prevent that, the first place that we look is family. Are there extended family members that are known to the child or youth that they can go and stay with while their parents work on whatever issues that they have? We also look at what we refer to as kith, K-I-T-H, and not only kin, which is family, but kith is actually people in the community who might be known to the child. And I'm thinking of maybe a teacher or a coach for a sporting event, something like that, where the child actually knows the people, and that's far better. I just want you to think for a minute, if you were a young person and your whole world is ripped apart because you're leaving your family. Now, that's not always preventable. Like sometimes that's necessary, particularly if there are extreme safety risks that we have to manage. Now, when kids come into care, we have a very clear initial purpose to find some permanency. So if they can't go back to family, they can't go to a community placement that they're familiar with, then we look at adoption. And we try and do that as soon as possible. Adoption takes a while through the court system, as you probably realize. But what we'll do is place a child somewhere with what's called foster care with a view to adopt. And what that means is that while we're securing those legal orders, that the child is already started in a permanent home. So again, I think it's far less than 10%, but I do want you to know that, and with the help of many generous people in our community, we're able to fund families to keep their kids. I can tell you that no kid will ever come into our care as a result of a family not having money. That's not the issue. We bend over, like we just do our ultimate effort to make sure that they stay in their family. And that might mean contributions to the family until they can become more secure. But thanks for that question. That was a great question.
Are there any other questions for Stacie and Sonia? Okay.
Can I just make, are you okay if I just make one more comment? I wanted
Absolutely.
I just wanted to let you know that one of your members is a great supporter of ours. Constante is actually on our board of directors, and good morning, and has been incredibly supportive of our organization in many ways outside of only his board role.
Okay, that's really great to hear. Thank you, and thanks, Constantine, for doing what you do. So I really appreciated this information, and I'm going to ask Joyce Yee if she will thank the speakers.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Do I have am I unmuted? Has been one of the staples of life throughout history and is seen in many forms in all cultures. Breaking and sharing of bread is symbolic of life, peace, and the building of friendships. This virtual bread is given to you as a symbol of our friendship and in thanks for sharing with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so Sonia and Stacie, we actually have a loaf of bread here. And so I gladly will deliver to you if you like. Or oftentimes what our speakers do is to ask us to donate it on your behalf. Which would you like? Would you like to break bread together?
And I would say, given COVID, it probably would be easier because I know you're a very generous group and make lots of donations. So we would ask you to donate that on our behalf. Thank you.
All right, we will. We generally donate it to Lunch by George, who always receives it with open arms. So it's always a good thing. So you're actually sharing it with the community as well. So thank you again for coming today, and really amazing information, and it's really great to see how the community is working for our children.